Welcome to the Theory of Knowledge Society, home to a new unified theory of knowledge. Let's start by reflecting on the current global situation we find ourselves in. Of course, there's the pandemic, and in the United States, we are seeing massive amounts of social upheaval, political polarization, chaotic information ecologies, and much fragmentation, and a general sense of confusion and chaos. Globally, we face a number of what Thomas Bjorkman called metacrises in the 21st century, such as the techno-environmental crisis involving climate change, resource depletion, mass extinction, and weapons of mass destruction, the digital globalization crisis, where the digital world is changing everything. There is, as John Vervaeke brilliantly articulates, a meaning crisis whereby we are deeply confused and conflicted about what is real and good, and we are facing a mental health crisis of dramatic proportions before the COVID pandemic. And now the wave of mental health crises is cresting, especially found in our youth. We need new ways to make sense of the world so that we can make better choices, realize our potential, and be good ancestors to future generations. This is what the Theory of Knowledge Society is all about. It's the home of the unified theory of knowledge, which of course is a bold statement. What is this unified theory? It's a new system of thought that stretches from quantum mechanics to general relativity and ultimately functions, in particular, to solve the problem of psychology. What is the problem of psychology? This refers to the fact that we psychologists do not have effective, consensual ways of scientifically defining mind and behavior. You likely haven't heard of the problem of psychology, but it is central to our knowledge systems. Consider this. Although psychology has been around in terms of its first official birth date in 1879, there is no consensual understanding of what the term means, how we should refer and conceptualize what mind is, what behavior is, what is the language systems that we should use to organize the empirical data that we have, and inform us about our condition as humans on this planet. This is a remarkable fact that's little known, but the unified theory of knowledge emphasizes why it is central by identifying what is called the Enlightenment gap. The Enlightenment refers to the set of philosophical and scientific knowledge systems that emerged in the 16th and 17th centuries. It gave rise to brilliant advances and developments, but it resulted in a tremendous problem, the mind versus body problem, or mind-matter problem, which was introduced most dramatically by René Descartes in his dualism. We have been struggling with Cartesian dualism ever since, and we have never been able to effectively clarify in a unified field theory sort of way what exactly is mind or the mind, what is behavior, and what is our scientific investigation and conceptualization of it. It is this problem that the unified theory of knowledge addresses head on. The unified theory starts with what is called the tree of knowledge system. The tree of knowledge system is a new map of big history. It depicts cosmic evolution from the Big Bang to the present, but does so in a novel way. Specifically, as shown here, it depicts the evolution of behavioral complexity as emerging across 4 different planes of existence, identified as matter, life, mind, and culture. The reason there are different planes of existence is that following matter, novel information processing and communication systems emerge. So We get genetic information processing and the emergence of cells and their communication to give rise to the plane of life. Then we get neuronal information processing and animal-to-animal communication, which, in the language of the tree of knowledge, gives rise to mind as a novel plane of existence. And then finally, we get symbolic information processing and person-to-person communication to build systems of justification known as culture and the fourth dimension of complexity depicted on the tree of knowledge. This allows us to divide the universe up into four distinct dimensions. It's a crucial insight that allows the tree of knowledge the first system that can effectively define the parameters to enable us to get clear about solving the problem of psychology. A key feature of the tree of knowledge is that it defines the ontic reality as what's real independent of beliefs in relationship to scientific ontology, that is claims about reality, and scientific epistemology. Indeed, it offers us a new way to think about science as a system of justification that evolves out of sociocultural processes. It corresponds then the physical sciences to the first dimension of complexity, matter. The biological sciences are corresponding to the dimension of life. And then it corresponds the basic psychological sciences to the dimension of mind, which differentiates then from human psychology, and then the rest of the social sciences, which correspond to the culture-person plane of existence. The unified framework sets the stage for solving the problem of psychology as follows. First, we can see that physics maps the dimension of matter. This is consensually agreed upon by physicists and gives us a bedrock of knowledge. We can then see that biology maps clearly to the dimension of life. Together, physics and biology can be thought of in relationship to the STEM disciplines, whereby we have consensual knowledge about the material and living dimensions of complexity. However, everything breaks down when we move beyond biology, and psychology as a discipline exists as a confused set of ideas, on the one hand between biology and the social sciences, and on the other, at one level, can be identified as existing between Skinner on the one hand, representing an extreme form of behaviorism, and Sigmund Freud and his psychoanalytic ideas representing an extreme form of mentalism. And the way of understanding exactly what mind and behavior is has never been effectively resolved. It is this that the unified theory addresses. The way it addresses it is by taking Skinner's ideas and connecting them with cognitive neuroscience in the form of what is called behavioral investment theory. That organizes the dimension of animal behavior, or more appropriately called mental behavior, as understanding that the nervous system is computing behavioral investments based on environmental contingencies. Then we get to human consciousness, language, and the evolution of culture. The justification hypothesis gives rise to justification systems theory, which assimilates and integrates Freud's key insights about how humans rationalize their behavior and repress unwanted drives and desires. And it is this dynamic arrangement of human consciousness that gives rise to collective processes of justification, and it is these collective processes of justification that set the stage for and give rise to the culture-person plane of existence. This gives rise to a complete alignment of matter, life, mind, and culture studied by the physical, biological, psychological, and social sciences. It also demonstrates why psychology has been so confused over the years. Psychology must be effectively differentiated between basic psychology, that is the science of animal mental behavior, and human psychology, which is the science of human individuals on the culture-person plane of existence. The tree The theory of knowledge can be represented in the form of the theory of knowledge tree, which has as its first branch the tree of knowledge system. But to make it a unified theory of knowledge, it must be much, much more than this macro level framework. And indeed, the unified theory of knowledge is exactly that. It consists of the justification hypothesis with its updated tripartite model of human consciousness, behavioral investment theory and the architecture of human cognition, which describes the functional organization of the nervous system and how it processes information to guide behavioral investments across various levels of cognitive processing. It includes the influence matrix, a map of the human relationship system and the underlying needs and drives that humans have for what is called high relational value, the desire to be known and valued by important others, to contribute to the group and be loved for one's contribution, as opposed to low relational value, the state of disconnected dejectedness and being alone, isolated, or abused. These four ideas, the tree of knowledge system, justification, systems theory, behavioral investment theory, and the influence matrix, provide the unified theory of psychology. It then bridges over to the unified approach, starting with character adaptation systems theory, which bridges modern human personality theory into the different individual level paradigms of psychotherapy. Character adaptation systems theory grounds the character wheel of development, and together they form frameworks for understanding character adaptive development, which is crucial to understanding human psychological health and fulfillment. The nested model of well-being defines what human psychology well-being is in terms of how it can be conceptualized as happiness with the worthiness to be happy, involving subjective well-being, health and functioning, consideration of the environmental context, and the ideology and values of the evaluator. And finally, the unified approach consists of an integrated approach to psychological mindfulness called CalmMO, where individuals learn how to cultivate a metacognitive observer that is curious, accepting, loving, compassionate, and motivated to learn and grow toward valued states of being. We welcome you to the Theory of Knowledge Society and invite you to join us on the journey toward knowledge and wisdom in the 21st century. What could be a more noble, engaging, and exciting journey than that?